Hey, Eric, I have a question for you. Do you really want to taste it?
I really, really, really want to taste it.
Oh, man. Peacemaker, HBO Max.
Love it.
Right here, Applesauce Baloney. I'm Thor.
I'm Eric, and holy shit balls. What a show. What a show. I told you, the last Suicide Squad, I was right. This show proves I'm right. This is the superior Suicide Squad. It is literally batshit crazy. I love it. There is something about James Gunn's stuff where I love not knowing what's going to happen. There are times when I'm sure they're going to kill Peacemaker. Yeah. And the show is literally named after him. So, yeah, this show has blown everybody away. Eagly has taken Grogu's throne as, I can't believe I'm as invested as I am into Vigilante and Peacemaker right here. Are they my new favorite superheroes? Merman emoji, I think so.
I love that merman emoji, and I love that you're using that merman emoji.
I'm using it all the time. It's my new favorite. Yeah, it's the only emoji I'll probably ever use.
I did not expect to like this show as much as I do.
Oh my god, it's so funny.
I enjoyed his character in the Suicide Squad. I didn't know how they were going to make a show out of him, but they're doing a really good job. Now, this show is not for everyone. My wife doesn't like it. My son's not really invested in it. But like for a comic book fan or a DC fan, this show is really like, if you want to talk about deep cuts, they're throwing some stuff out there that's really hitting home for people that like DC, and then follow a lot of stuff because, of course, we were really heavy into watching the Harley Quinn show, and it deals heavy with Kite Man, and we get a bunch of Kite Man name drops.
Again, I think that Harley Quinn show and it is about the most canon thing in the DCEU as it stands is a hot mess. And one of the things I love about Peacemaker and Suicide Squad is it really feels like this. See, when it was the Zack Snyder verse, I had thoughts. Then I saw the Snyder cut.
Yeah. And
I was way more into what it felt like Zack Snyder was trying to do. Now, Warner Brothers has botched it time and time again, but I almost like this. The world, like Marvel is very on brand.
Yeah.
Marvel has their shit together with very few exceptions. They stay right inside what we expect and what they've built as the Marvel brand. DC is like the basically like me in high school, ADD, stuffing crumpled pieces of homework in my backpack, late to every class. Like DCEU is wild, but they've leaned into it.
Yeah.
And to the point where, I mean, if Suicide Squad and Peacemaker exist in the same universe as Flash, Aquaman, the Justice League movies,
they almost have to.
They almost have
to because
then what a crazy world DC is right now.
Because if we're saying that this Peacemaker is the Peacemaker that was in Suicide Squad with Harley Quinn, that's the Harley Quinn that was in
the original Suicide Squad.
Well, that was in the show where
Birds of Prey.
Yep. Where she gets kidnapped by Batman, which is the Affleck Batman, which puts her solid in the Snyderverse. It's saying that all this stuff, for as crazy as it is the same thing. The only problems is the fact that there's two Suicide Squads with Harley Quinn. But I mean,
there's like very few. I think there's one character crossover that's a recast from Suicide Squad. So I mean, both for my money, both those Suicide Squads can be in the same universe. Basically, what I'm getting to is what an insane. I love how insane and different the DCU superhero universe is than the Marvel superhero cinematic universe. Yeah. Because what we're getting is we're getting Shazam that can be family friendly and magical and funny. And then obviously Black Adam is going to build off of that end of the universe. Yeah. And then we can get Justice League, which is just crazy. And we're talking like Flashpoint time travel stuff. If this exists in here, I cannot wait to, because DC is, again, DC is batshit crazy. If you go into Marvel's universe, the characters themselves are weird. But the DC universe is far bigger and far more diverse. You've got everything from Lobo to Mxyzptlk. You've got some weird ass characters, and they're coming to the fore here. I mean, the fact that they did Starro. The which they even joke about in here, like, well, yeah, because Operation Starfish, worst name for a secret operation ever because it was a giant starfish, and he even calls it "What are butterflies?" About butterflies. They are.
Am I fighting a Mothra?
Turns out we will be.
Right. And man, it's honestly, like, I can't say enough about this show. Like, it's
so good.
I don't know where to go with it because every single episode is a new thing. And like, it's doing so much stuff, and all of it's so fun. Like, his relationship with his dad is one thing, and his relationship with
it goes from ridiculous to dark, almost Watchmen level dark. It goes from that to like camp to absolute like Batman 60s show camp.
Sitting in the back of a van jamming out to 80s hair metal.
Right.
He's almost a hard character to watch, especially this last episode. Like, you really feel bad for this guy that they set up to be a bad guy in Suicide Squad. You feel bad for this guy because, like, he's a pitiable character who just wants to be a superhero.
And he steals the show in Suicide Squad, in the James Gunn Suicide Squad. But he is not a redeemable character.
No.
He's a one-note joke character, but they go so deep into his pathos and who he is. And again, we've talked about this with Star Wars. I think one of the show's greatest strengths is that we know nothing about this character. Yeah. There is no expectation, and so that allows the filmmaker, the writers, James Gunn and company, to really do same thing like he did with Guardians of the Galaxy. They were the least known canon, established this and that. This is Guardians of the Galaxy. That he was able to do whatever. He was able to take these weird characters that knew they were weird and do whatever he wanted to them. And now here we have it again in this, where I think that really frees it up. If it's a Superman show, if it's a Batman show, even in Titans, there's certain expectations and things we have to deal with in Titans. Batman has to be dealt with. The Justice League have to be dealt with when you're talking about the Titans. And that sort of that it puts bars. It puts a kitty fence around what creatively you can do. This show has no guards. I have no idea what's going to happen from 1 minute to the next in this show, and I love it.
But they still touch on it. I mean, he references Superman's bizarre sexual habits. He talks about Batman.
Do you have a quote of supervillains?
Yeah.
No, because all my supervillains are 6 feet underground.
Yeah. We do Aquaman jokes, which you're not a fan of DC if you don't make fun of Aquaman.
There's even a Wookiee. There's even a Star Wars throwaway in there. It's canon. That's canon. Yeah. Wookiees have teeth on their buttholes. By the way, not canon, not true. But I did love James Gunn. I love James.
It hasn't been 100% proven that it can't be. I mean,
I love James Gunn's tweet on that where he started Googling "do Wookiees" like the day after that show came out, and that do Wookiees have teeth in their buttholes? And he's like, there's Peacemaker influencing the cultural conversation. Way to go, James Gunn. I love, way to get meta, baby. Way to get meta.
Great, Wookiees now have a Sarlacc pit
in their butthole. Yeah.
Wow, that's not where I expected this conversation to go to. I'm sorry,
it's
everyone.
Peacemaker. It's Peacemaker. You should,
but man,
parental advisory on the Peacemaker episodes.
Every single bit of this show, like, I love Vigilante. I don't want to say I love his father because his father is a pitiable piece of shit.
But Robert Patrick is doing a great job.
But he's doing such a great job.
Yeah.
And this last episode, we see him put on the white dragon costume. That's going to be interesting.
It's going to be crazy.
I
don't think enough can be said about the actor. I'm blanking on his name. It's Freddie something. Who
plays Vigilante.
Who plays Vigilante. Yeah. I guess he came in midway through filming and reshot a lot of scenes that were played by another actor.
Oh, really?
It was the actor.
And that really helps out in these movies where people wear masks all the time. I guess.
The actor I guess was Chris Conrad.
Okay.
I think that's his name. But yeah, Chris Conrad originally was playing it. He decided something happened the press line they're putting out is that he decided that he didn't want to be in a second season, and he wasn't really gelling with the character.
Yeah.
Well, they brought this other guy in, and I'm telling you, he's stealing the show.
Yeah.
Like Eagly and Vigilante, I have serious feels like nothing better happen to Eagly or Vigilante in this show.
You know,
they better hands off.
They've done a really great job, and of course James Gunn is good at this because he made us care about a tree and a talking raccoon.
Yeah.
And
Chris
Pratt. But I really care about all these characters.
Yeah.
Like I care about Harcourt, and I wanna see what's going on with that. You know.
Amanda Waller's daughter.
Amanda Waller. That's
gonna come.
That's amazing. I'm totally on board with her character.
Yeah.
I love seeing where that's going. She's such a great actress. It's so fun. The bearded guy. Of course, I'm forgetting his name. I'm forgetting what Peacemaker calls him, but he's the bearded guy.
Diebeard.
Diebeard. Yeah.
Diebeard.
You know, he's so fun. It's fun to see them come over from Suicide Squad. You know, the guy that's playing, I just blanked his name.
Judo Master?
Yeah.
I love Judo Master. I laugh every single time when he hops up on John Cena's shoulders in the opening credits. Every single time I crack up.
That opening credit sequence. Okay, we have to talk about the opening
It lets you know
sequence.
it lets you know what's happening right now in this opening sequence. It's everything. It basically is James Gunn going like, you are seeing, this is a James Gunn program.
Yeah. And of course, you know, if you've seen her on the internet, the choreographer that did this was told, make choreography for people that can't dance, because I mean it's John Cena, so I imagine he probably can't dance, although he can play a really mean piano.
I felt like that was really him.
It was.
I feel like he's crazy talented beyond like just being a wrestler.
Oh yeah, no, he's definitely one of those guys that.
But I mean we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about the elephant in the room. Like I'm still waiting to see John Cena in this show. Like
I guess he hates that. I guess he's so tired of people making the
yeah, but he loves it. He talks about it on every talk show that people are going to mention it. So now we're
you know what, John Cena
actually contractually obligated, and we have no contract because we're just doing this out of our garage. But like, we're contractually obligated to make the "Where is John Cena" in this show joke.
Yeah, and you know what, John Cena, keep going. Make as many movies as The Rock has, where he can now be called Dwayne Johnson and can move on from knowing what The Rock is cooking.
Yes,
you'll get there, man.
You'll get there.
But right now we still don't know where you are.
Can't see you.
Yeah. You might as well play Drax the Destroyer.
We're hilarious.
We are.
But no. I mean, John. He's obviously very talented. He's stealing the show. Talented. And he's covered. I mean, there's a lot of range to this very silly character.
Yeah.
There's a lot like I mean, there's been some legit moments at the end of some of these episodes when I'm like, am I gonna cry? Right? I'm like, am I feeling feelings watching this ridiculous show?
That's where I was getting to with my comment before. Is like the journey that Peacemaker's going on in this show. Like he starts out as a very comic booky figure. I mean, he's making racist jokes. He's saying stuff that like we haven't been able to say in movies and TV shows since the 70s. You know, and he's sexist. He's racist. He's not a great guy. And to see him go on this journey of like wanting, you know, he's just
he wants to be a superhero.
He's just a dude that wants to be a superhero, and he's a dude that wants to be accepted, and he wants to please people. Yeah. And watching his character go on this journey to where like now we're at a point where like, you know, he doesn't want to kill people anymore.
Doesn't want to kill women, no matter how many women and children have to die for peace.
Right.
He's not willing to do that part of the job anymore.
You know,
and they've done a really good job of like, I mean, and they call back to, I think, one of my favorite, one of the biggest feel moments in Suicide Squad was when he kills Captain Flag, and Captain Flag calls him a joke. Yeah. They reference that. That obviously sticks in his head, and I think it's really good storytelling because that is the moment in that movie. If Peacemaker has one moment where you kind of see the shame and everything of who he is and who he thinks he is break down, it's when he stabs Captain Flag in the heart. Yeah. And so,
thinking he's doing the right thing and realizing that he's not proud of what he's doing.
Right. Yeah. And that he is a joke.
Yeah.
Because he spent most of this show up to this point. I think, what are we on, episode 6 or 5? We're deep into this first season, And they've flashed back to that multiple times, and he really does beat himself up on that. And we're starting to learn a very sad and deep and hard origin story for Peacemaker, because they do call out all the superhero tropes. Do you have a quarter of supervillains? What's your origin story? Well, we're Peacemaker is gathering both of those to be a legit bona fide superhero. He's got a sidekick. Vigilante. He has a...
He's got a villain. I mean, his dad is his villain. And he's going to be, because he's going to show up in full on supervillain costume. I just can't say enough about this show, and I'm glad that we got like 3 or 4 more episodes of it left, because I'm really enjoying it. Like I honestly, I've been busy this last week, and I honestly forgot that I had it because I was late to watching the Book of Boba Fett. I almost called it The Mandalorian.
The Bobalorian.
Bobalorian. Yeah. But like I was sitting on the couch the other day. I'm like, man, what am I going to watch tonight? And I'm like, oh, holy crap. I have Peacemaker to watch. And I was so excited that I had Peacemaker to watch.
Okay, so let's talk about this last episode of Peacemaker. I don't think I've seen an episode of Peacemaker that didn't have an oh shit moment. Like a holy crap, I can't believe they did that. Like the Goff butterfly getting out and crawling into that detective's mouth and everything, and then the entire invasion kind of like coming full circle. I mean, like Peacemaker is bringing it. There's no we'll have to wait till this. He won't go there. Boy, he goes there right now, and holy smokes, like I honestly don't know, like when you've seen enough movies, or you've tried to write for movies and television, like we have, you eventually start seeing things before they happen, and it's really hard to turn that part of your brain off. I think one of my favorite things about Peacemaker and Suicide Squad and James Gunn is it really does keep me on the edge of my seat, because this stuff comes out of left field for me. I do not see it coming, you know, like I can say, even in Mandalorian and, Book of Boba Fett, or a lot of the other shows we watch, Titans, I can see it coming. Okay, or this is going to happen, or that's going to happen, or here's the twist. I never see that coming with this show.
Yeah. No, I mean, they go from them fighting in the place where they make all the jelly stuff, and then he comes back and he has Goff in a jar. Like, who would have expected that? Like, you just, like, up to that point, he's a guy that just shoots things, and suddenly, like...
Yeah, I mean, I only foresaw that for a moment. Yeah. Because it was like, hey, what happened to him? Oh, we blew him away. And I actually had to stop and go back and watch it. And I'm like, oh, no, they don't. They cut on them watching it kind of float up. The other thing
the gorilla.
Yeah, but they set that up. The previous episode, there were multiple background things where I'm like, okay, we're gonna get a Gorilla Grodd thing. And he even does reference, he's like, 4 years ago I fought it. That's only the second hyper-intelligent gorilla that I've had to fight in the last 4 years. And I love calling out that the DC universe is effing weird. It's weird.
And it exists out there. It's happening. Yeah. It's not this weird world where, like in Batman versus Superman, where like Batman's been around for a while, but Superman's maybe only been here for a couple of years. Like Peacemaker is just full out saying, no, it's DC. There's superheroes and supervillains flying all over the place, and they exist, and it's happening, and they're out there, and like it's great.
Yeah, and I'm just this tiny little part of it.
Yeah,
he's basically a superhero cosplayer.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, just the Suicide Squad tells you there's all kinds of weird metahumans. I mean, we have detachable arm guy, and they tell you right away it's a weird world in the DC universe.
Yeah. So, where is James Gunn going with this? I don't know. I'm along for the ride. I don't know what he's doing. I don't know what the ultimate story is. Obviously, Peacemaker's got to come to grips with his father.
Yeah.
There's this whole side story going on with Amanda Waller trying to frame him for stuff. So is Amanda Waller a butterfly?
I don't know. But they're setting up a great daughter-mother thing, because they've been playing on that, like, that's Amanda Waller's daughter's on the team. Yeah. And she's learning a lot about her mom. Yeah. And what it is to be, whatever Amanda Waller is. Yeah. Yeah. A superhero, prison warden.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm all for if James Gunn wants to finish up his time at Marvel, give us Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and then go over and be the new Zack Snyder and get DC on track. I'm there for it. Yeah. And also James Gunn, if you in the multiverse, if you see this show, please do Lobo next. Please do Lobo, because this Peacemaker lets me know Lobo can and should be out there in the canon DC universe.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, like I told you the other day, I was going back on a rewatch of Young Justice, and they did a post-credit thing where there was a little baby Lobo, and then there's a adult Lobo steps on him, and it gets all gross, and I'm like, oh, so like they're acknowledging, even in a kids show, that there's this crazy guy. And I know they did Lobo back in the Superman animated series.
I think they did. Yeah, he shows up once or twice.
Very late in the show.
But basically, if you don't know, Lobo is DC's version of Deadpool. He's a 100% joke character. He's as powerful as Superman, only he's an intergalactic bounty hunter who rides around on a space chopper with his space bulldog and
smokes space cigars.
Basically smokes space and kicks bitches.
Yeah,
asses. I think that's how that's what he called things.
Yeah, but I mean, I could totally see James Gunn doing the Lobo program.
He should. Jason Momoa could play a second DC character. Jason Momoa should be Lobo.
Would be an amazing.
He would be a great Lobo.
Would be an amazing Lobo.
But anyway, we just had to hit Peacemaker. We'll do a season recap and a preview of what we think is going to happen in Titans season 3. Yeah. We've got a lot to talk about. Harley Quinn. The animated series, her and they break. Spoilers. Breaks up with Kite Man.
I know.
And gets together. They hook up, which I think we kind of all saw coming. But I was really getting. Kite Man got me here too. Yeah. Like I really feel like there's a Kite Man in me.
I think that's what they're saying is there's a Kite Man in all of us.
in every entitled white guy, there's a Kite Man.
But I mean, lots of DC coming. Shazam, Black Adam. We got Aquaman coming. Yep. The Flash movie. We have the next thing coming out. It's the next The Batman.
Yes.
Totally excited for that.
Yes.
Can't wait to talk about the stuff with you. Drop a comment. Tell us what we missed. What we
should
talk about.
Subscribe.
Share with your friends. Help us do this on a regular basis. It's fun for us to do. We hope you're enjoying it too. But until next time, we'll see you later.